There's a ton of growing curiosity around for sale by owner or lease by owner, and we're going to figure out whether you should do it yourself or why you would use a real estate agent. This is a really good topic because a lot of people want to do for sale by owner or lease it out because they can just put it online themselves. These days, there's lots of tools, but we're going to kind of break down what the myths are when you do it
You're
yourself.
not just trying to save money. There's a rhyme for the reason of
Yes.
hiring a realtor.
Well, and I think I want to start off with this stat because I think a lot of people don't understand this. So in 2024, only 6% of homes were sold for sale by owner, which a lot of people think that's higher, and it's probably because more people start out for sale by owner.
They start out that way when they
then they end up
switch.
having to hire a realtor, and usually it's about, I want to say they're like 3 weeks, 3 to 3 months, or 3 weeks to 3 months, they're going to hire a realtor because they didn't get the response they wanted. But they sure got every realtor to reach out to them during the whole time, right? And when they do sell for sale by owner,
Probably had more realtors than
yes, it's all realtors trying to get them to list with them. So when they did sell with a realtor, the average sales price was $380,000 compared to the agent assistant home sales, which was $435,000. And a lot of times people say, well, I'm going to do for sale by owner because I don't want to pay the agent fees. Most of the time they don't realize they're still paying the buyer agent fees. So they're only saving a certain percentage. And if you look at the list to sales price ratio versus for sale by owner to agent assistant, it's 87% list to sales price ratio. Right now, the average MLS is at 94%. So you're just losing money right out the door. I don't know how it is on the rental side. Like if someone does it themselves.
Very similar.
Very similar. Okay. So why are they doing this? I don't understand. Did they just get burned in the past?
I think it's preconceived notion that I'm going to save all this money, and they don't realize 1 month of vacant property for 1 month is I'm losing out this amount of money.
Right.
And then you carry that over for a full year, it adds up.
Yes.
And
those days on market, we don't want them.
It's for us, it's a no-brainer, but
right.
You gotta convince the owners.
Yes. So we see what buyers will see that maybe a for sale by owner is not going to see. Same thing with tenants. What tenants are going to see walking into that house. So when you bring a professional through, it needs to be professional, though. You don't want your sister's cousin's boyfriend's aunt that got in 3 months ago that needs a sale. Like, you need to hire an actual professional, right?
Right.
And they're going to see, okay, this house just doesn't smell right. It doesn't look right. It doesn't feel right. Of course, nobody wants to buy or lease this property. That's part of our job.
They take it too personal. What's good for them is not necessarily good for whoever else.
Yep, that's fair. So you've got this unbiased professional who's going to walk you through those steps of what that looks like. And they're taking it off your plate. Like, you don't have to worry about coordinating.
How valuable is your time?
Yes, how valuable is. And the amount of stress you go through as it is through this process with the professional, and then you take the professional out of it, the stress level just increases tenfold at that point. I don't understand. Like, I'm not going to go to the doctor and tell him I want to do my own surgery and he can just like give me the pointers on how to do it. Like, I'm not telling my CPA how to do my taxes. I go see my CPA so I don't mess up. Like, I just don't understand. To me, they've had a really bad experience in the past and they just haven't worked with a true professional, what it looks like. And that just comes down to hiring and asking multiple opinions.
You got to interview them.
You've got to interview. We've talked about that in the past. So what are we seeing about maybe on the marketing side? Because I think that's a big thing you get when you work with a professional is the marketing.
For me, get rid of your phone. Don't take camera phones.
I was like, wait a second, how are we getting rid of our phones?
No camera phones.
No camera phones. No matter how good they get.
I mean, the pictures just do not pop. Mm-hmm. They're grainy. You're not showing details.
Yep.
Because that's your first impression is an MLS ad or any kind of ad. They're going to look at the pictures. They're going to blow them up.
Well, and they're going to be skewed, too, because they don't know how to hold it level. And so all your lines are either going to go this way or they're going to go this way.
And you got tenants that are going to blow them up. They're going to look at all the details. especially like in kitchens, they're going to want what kind of refrigerator, what kind of microwave,
Yep.
all that kind of stuff. So the pictures are very key, in my opinion. The listing itself, what kind of details you got in it.
Yeah, what words are you using? Are they keywords they're going to pick
Is
up?
it pet friendly? Do you do this? Do you do that? How much is this going to cost? I mean, you gotta be very detailed.
Instead, they do 2 lines, and that's it.
The less you do as far as details, the more calls you're going to get, and
you already
the
didn't have time in
frustration
the first
level,
place.
yeah, the frustration levels goes through the roof for the do-it-yourself owners.
Yep.
Colors, people are gonna look at the colors and what are the colors of the walls, or their 2 tones or whatever. The carpets, they're going to blow up on the carpets. Do they see
Stains.
If you see stains, then it's pretty bad.
Yep.
So I mean, those are the things going into the marketing side.
Right.
Now, for me, as far as the rentals are concerned, I'm a realtor also. I'm going to list you on the local MLS.
Right.
So you get local coverage and you got access to all the realtors in the Dallas-Fort Worth market. I'm also listing you on 30 different national rental websites like the Redfins, the Zillows, those, and you're getting national coverage. And right now we're probably getting 50% of our tenants are coming in either out of state or out of the country.
Right.
And for sale by owner,
They're going to put
you're
them
not
on
going to get that cut. You're
Craigslist.
going to look at Craigslist or Facebook, and your tenant pool goes to nothing with that. And the people that you do get, you got to wonder, are they scams anyway?
Right.
And with the way we do it, we're getting you as much coverage as you can get, and we're bringing in tenants. We're good tenants, and then we do all the background checks. So after that, we get you a good tenant.
When life hits hard, late payments, medical bills, job loss, or even the need to move quickly, many homeowners feel trapped. The fastest way out seems to be selling to a cash investor, but that means giving your home away for pennies on the dollar. You don't have to do that. Nearly half of homeowners today are equity rich, and that value belongs to you. With our One Move program, you can unlock that equity immediately, get cash in hand now, and still share in the upside when your home resells. Or, if you'd rather, we'll shop your property to multiple cash buyers so you can choose the best offer instead of settling for one low bid. Go to DunnDealOffers.com and discover the smarter way to get cash fast without losing the equity you've worked so hard to build.
To those who take the risk, who bet their life savings, their blood, sweat, and tears on a rental property to make a nice place for someone to live and a nice living for themselves. To those who get this call or no call at all. To those who keep adding more properties, it will all be worth it for you and for them. You care about preserving your investments. So do we. Real Property Management.
It's all about the exposure.
Right.
Exposure is huge. And what we're noticing is we're seeing a lot of buyers coming in looking from websites only that didn't have an agent. They're not even talking to agents anymore first. Originally, they would go to an agent and the agent would send them all the listings available and then they'd buy the house.
Right.
Well, now you got all the different searching sites.
They're finding it and telling the agent,
and then they go to the
this.
agent. Yeah. So if you're only hoping that an agent is going to share the listing out, you're missing the boat. So if you aren't on all those ancillary sites, you're not going to get everybody who's actually looking out there.
Yeah, because ordinary non-realtor people, they don't have access to MLS.
Right, exactly.
So you got to be in those other sites.
And MLS does syndicate out to a good handful of hubs and different sites, but there's extra layers that you can add on as a real estate agent.
Right.
We've done a couple different premier associations with different types of partnerships just so we can have more exposure. And it includes like ad exposure. Like we're putting ads on every single one of our listings to make sure it's following people around when they go off those sites and they browse other sites.
Right.
That listing's still popping up. Just like if you make the mistake of clicking on something anywhere these days, like I recently looked at, what did I look at? I looked at a pair of glasses. I wear my glasses at night. I wore a pair of glasses or looked at a pair of glasses. I am being followed everywhere by ads for glasses.
Right.
And I'm like, stop it. I just looked because they look cool for a second and they're just following me around everywhere. That's what your listings should be doing that we have the same capability. Someone who's just a for sale by owner, they don't have the bandwidth or the time or the creativity or any of that because they have a whole nother life that they're working on to place those sort of ads. So just advertising alone, I think, is a huge reason why you'd want to work with an agent because we're making this whole streamlined process to get the most exposure because we know more exposure means more opportunity.
Right.
It's not necessarily luck that's selling these properties, right? Like we're doing a lot of things out there to make
That's
it seem really lucky.
We're earning it.
The price, we've talked about this in the past too. The price has to be right. If it's wrong, it's not going nowhere. And most for sale by owners are going to probably go too high because that's probably half the reason why they're doing it themselves because they think their price is better.
A lot of them base it off, my mortgage is this, I want to make this.
Yep.
That's my price. And that has nothing to do with market level pricing.
Nope.
The price is the price.
Yep.
And
it will get there one way or another.
Yes.
We have the same thing. Hey, my neighbor down the street did this. Let's not talk about how they're 300 square feet bigger with this, a pool, and all these other things. And they sold in May, and you're now in January looking at the property. Like that's a 7-month comp. No one's going to use that comp anymore. The market's done 3 shifts since then.
That's right.
So we have to do the same thing. And I think a lot of times, I was talking to an agent recently trying to get comps for a property. And they said, well, they just did a big, huge remodel. I said, the one in 2016? That's almost been 10 years. Wow, time's really flown by. Yes, it has. And they have to remodel it again. So we're taking that into consideration with our price.
Right.
But that seller's still stuck on their 2016 investment they made. And maybe for them, it's still great. But any new buyer walking into the house is going to want to, it's all gray. They don't want gray anymore.
That's why you hire the professional.
Yes.
They take you away from that.
Mm-hmm. Because you got to get out of your own head with pricing. So seeing what the buyers and tenants are seeing that you're missing, getting your price right, making sure you're not sitting on the market too long, and just the communication. A lot of times, even if you are for sale by owner, they don't even want to talk to other agents. They only want to talk directly to unrepresented buyers. Well, there's not that many out there. And anyone who is an unrepresented buyer is doing it because they're trying to get a deal.
Right.
So you're just going to lose even more money because they're already coming to you with a deal in mind. And sometimes it works between family members, sure. But if you're going to sell to an unrepresented, like 2 unrepresented people transacting business together in a society that is so litigious as it is. And we're not even talking about after you go under contract, all the things that can come up in default of contract and all the things. But you want to, I just don't see it. I don't see why you'd want to do that to yourself, regardless of how much you pay us to do it. We earn our fees day in and day out. Like we make ourselves totally worth our value, 100%. I don't get it. And I think that's why so many people start one way and then they come off market and go hire a professional real estate agent to do the deal for them. But every neighbor's already watched it. They're all sitting there with their popcorn, watching the drama unfold. And now you're going back on market. And guess how many of those fun neighbors will get out of their house and talk to the people showing your property once it's listed for sale. Oh, yeah, that's so-and-so. They tried to sell it on their own and they couldn't. And, oh, what's wrong with it? Well, we're not sure, blah, blah, blah. You get that talky talk neighbor that maybe doesn't want you to leave, so they're going to sabotage everybody coming through. Or they don't want renters next door. And you just gave them all that ammo to talk about every time someone shows that property. I don't know. The craziest things happen.
We keep you out of legal issues.
Yes.
I mean, what part of our make ready on every rental property is making sure like your smoke alarms are up, the external door locks.
You have your double locks, your peepholes.
We're making sure you meet the code.
Yes.
And you're doing the same thing on your
Right.
side.
We don't have as many of those check
We got more
boxes.
codes than you
Yeah,
do.
you've got a bunch of codes to keep up with. I just have to make sure that everyone gets to the closing table, which is always, it's a circus. I always say I'm like the ringleader of the circus. There's 27 other parties involved. Everyone wants to win. And you got maybe 3 of us ringleaders that are all trying to get the
That's
deal
when
to
the
close.
action happens. Is
Yes.
after everybody verbally agreed.
Right,
Now
yeah.
you got to make it final.
Because you think, okay, just getting the contract is just the hardest part. And it's like, no, that's not. We still have to actually close and exchange money and keys. And there's so many sections along the way that have to be addressed. And each time a new hiccup happens, you have to solve it. And if you're not in this industry day in and day out for years, it's going to take your whole day or week just to figure out how to solve that problem. And a lot of times you don't have a week to figure it out. You have maybe hours. Yeah, hours to a day to figure it out. And so just getting it on the contract is not enough to make it worth the quote unquote savings that you're not actually getting, because we can show you that you're going to sell for less than anybody else is going to sell. And you had lost all that time trying to figure out yourself. So I think people think
They're their worst enemies.
yeah, they're the worst. And I think they can get away with more on the rental side, but the amount of fair housing and property code that you have to stick to, they just aren't aware they have to, and till it catches them, and then they're in big trouble.
Right.
And you can't just feign ignorance and get away with it. Like, you're held responsible for those items. So it's definitely worth having the conversation, definitely worth hiring or interviewing multiple agents to hire the best one. Because if you feel like you're not getting the value that you should be getting with the agent you're working with, means you just didn't do enough.
If you got
interview.
any red flags during the interview process, move on.
Yeah, move on.
There's
and find
too many
someone.
out there to find somebody you trust.
And if they're going to tell you everything you want to hear, it's probably not going to work out either in the long run, because they're just trying to secure your listing, and then they won't have the hard conversation with you later, because we're going through shifting markets right now. Like, not every conversation's easy to have.
Right.
And if they can't have that hard conversation with you at the first kitchen table they sit down with you with, you probably don't want to hear it later 3 weeks in where they're cutting all the
I always
corners.
tell my people I'm going to set, I'm not necessarily going to tell you what you want to hear, but I'm going to set the expectations. I'm going to tell you this is what's really happening.
Yep.
I may lose some owners that way
Yep.
because they don't like what I'm saying, but I'm going to tell you the truth, because in my opinion, it's all based on trust. And
It is.
if I tell you something and it actually happens, and you go, oh wow, he knows what he's doing.
That's fair. And we can only speculate and use data and our expertise to kind of guide clients a
Right.
certain way. But a lot of times they don't like to hear what they have to say, because it's not 2021 anymore where things were just flying off the shelves, and everyone's stuck in those days
Yep.
of when can that market come back? We made all this money. And it's like, but do you remember what we had to go through to get to that market? Do we really want to do that again? No, we don't. So let's just look at the market we have now, be reasonable, and be smart about it. And you're not going to make $1 bazillion if you've only owned the house for 2 years. Like, it's
That's
just,
right.
that's not, you gotta hold on to it a little. You gotta have a little patience.
That's right.
So, all right, well, do your homework, get your agent, and have the win-win situation for everybody.
There you go.